Sometimes a game comes along and it knocks your socks off, takes those socks, has them professionally laundered, and returns them all warm and fluffy and slips them back over your wiggling little piggies and reminds you that you're home, you're safe. And with a heart full of hope, you realize there are yet still mysteries of the soul to discover in this wide, wonderful world. And sometimes the game is just like a regular kind of type, normal fun, just middle of the road, but on the positive side of the line. We're gonna talk about that kind of a game. Buckle up, safety first. Well, family first.
Family first.
Evil West is a game about a vampire hunting cowboy from developer Flying Wild Hog, makers of Shadow Warrior 1, 2, 3, and bearers of a top-tier studio moniker. This game feels like a throwback to the 360 era. It reminds me of games like Vanquish, Bulletstorm, Gears of War even. The game's campaign is heavy on the action. It's oozing with style and only asking for 10 to 12 hours of your time. I played Evil West on my Xbox through Game Pass, and on consoles, the 60 FPS performance mode takes you down to 1080p. And the textures are already a little budget, so on a 4K display it looks like somebody smeared Vaseline all over the screen. If you have access to the PC version, either through Game Pass, Steam, or wherever, I recommend you play it that way. I wish I had. But if you only have a console, it's not unplayable. I finished and enjoyed the game on my Series X. It was fuzzy. And I don't really know what is so taxing about this game, considering it's cross-gen with the Xbox One PS4 era. In any case, resolution woes aside, the art style is really striking. The levels are varied with bold color schemes, and the design really leans into the atmosphere for each location, whether you're punching your way through dusty canyons or stomping through murky swamps or frozen outposts. The art design is wonderful. And that goes hand in hand with the story of the game. The world building is a standout here. I'm a sucker for the kind of fun, pulpy storytelling that Evil West delivers through some very high quality cutscenes. The acting and writing are strong, but keep in mind this is unabashedly genre fiction. It revels in campiness and the rule of cool. I mean, it's cowboys killing vampires by punching them in the face with an electrically juiced up gauntlet. The only way the story could possibly be any cooler, and I racked my brain on this one, is if the underlying game design was a subtle allegory for the turmoil inherent in the mass movements of European populations in the late 3rd century AD, which it doesn't even attempt to do. They don't even make any attempt. On the gameplay front, the levels are built very similar to 2018's God of War, mostly linear with some branching side paths that lead you to upgrades, treasures, various pieces of written lore. And these paths are liberally dotted with very clearly telegraphed combat arenas. In addition, there are a handful of boss fights, each providing a nice spike in challenge. That's bullshit. I didn't die. The way the combat plays out in Evil West reminded me of a third-person Doom or Shadow Warrior 3. If you were allowed some breathing room, this game isn't as fast as either of those titles. Your character here is weighty, like Marcus in Gears of War. However, when you subtract the ability to snap to cover found in Gears, that weightiness can feel much clumsier here. Luckily, there is an upgrade path that boosts your dodge and goes a long way to making you feel faster. Unless, like a clunky, chunky son of a bitch. You'll cycle through various weapons and abilities like flamethrowers, six-shooters, dynamite, ground pounds, and uppercuts galore, but the key thing is to keep moving, as you'll be forced to continually adjust target priority and manage health, energy, ability cooldowns. You'll work your way through both a perk and upgrade tree, as well as finding new gear throughout. The pace of the progress I found to be spot on, and ensured that when I hopped down into each new combat arena, I was equipped with at least 1 or 2 new movesets or weapons to try. The game makes smart use of its campaign runtime, and while it's not breaking a lot of new ground, I found it to be a refreshing return to simpler mechanics. When so many titles today insist on having every single mechanic ever come up with in game design stuffed into their fucking game, I'm so tired of crafting arrows. And that's Evil West. It launched at 60 bones on Xbox, and I didn't want to spend that much on it. I like this kind of game. I'm glad to include it in my gaming diet, but while old school action gameplay is cool, old school pricing is not. This game should have been $40, and I think it would have done a lot better in the modern games market. But it's totally worth it on Game Pass, or if you can find it on sale elsewhere. I should go.